Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know how sometimes you get those bills from your insurance company and you just want to call them up and be like, what is this? Well, get ready, because today we're diving into the awesome world of braces and dental insurance.
Oh, yes. Somebody's got to help decode all that stuff.
For real. This time we're talking to you, dear listener, because we know you're out there trying to make smart choices about braces. Maybe for yourself, maybe for your kids. Either way, knowledge is power, right?
Couldn't agree more. You don't want any surprises when it comes to those bills.
Exactly. So we found this really great article all about insurance coverage for braces. And let me tell you, it's got a lot of really good info stuff you might not realize about how it all works.
I'm all ears. Hit me with the highlights.
All right, so first big takeaway, and you can tell me if you've heard this one before. Dental insurance for adults. Yeah, it usually doesn't cover the full cost of braces at all.
Yeah, that's a common one, unfortunately. And if we're talking kids, oh boy, don't even get me started.
Right. It's like a whole different ballgame with kids, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But the article did mention this thing, medical necessity, when it comes to braces. You're the expert. What's that all about?
So it all boils down to this.
Yeah.
Insurance companies, they want to see that you really need those braces
Yeah.
for medical reasons, not just for a Hollywood smile. You know, like let's say you've got a serious overbite. Makes it tough to even close your mouth properly, chew your food. Now that's a situation where they're more likely to say, okay, this is a genuine medical need. We'll help cover some of the costs.
So we're talking about like, my jaw doesn't work right situations. Not just like, oh, my teeth are a little crooked.
Exactly. Think impacted teeth, jaw alignment issues, stuff that really affects your daily life, not just the aesthetics.
Makes you wonder how much those insurance folks really get about what goes on inside your mouth. But I guess that's all the more reason to really do your homework. So listener, think about it for a sec. Your situation, or if it's for your kiddo, are there any potential medical need angles that maybe you haven't considered? Might just make all the difference when it comes to that coverage. Okay, so medical necessity, that's a big one. But this article doesn't stop there. Oh no, we got to wade through all those insurance terms too. Premiums, deductibles, in-network, out-of-network. My brain's already hurting.
It's only its own language, right?
Seriously, who actually understands this stuff?
Well, that's why we're here. Like the article digs into this whole out-of-network thing, and honestly, that's where a lot of people get tripped up. Choosing an orthodontist who's not in your plan's network could mean you're paying way more out of pocket.
Oh, okay, so I'm hearing this and thinking, we haven't even gotten to the actual braces yet, and this is already getting pricey.
And that's a valid concern. That's actually something I really liked about this article. It breaks down the costs of all the different types of braces because they're not all created equal.
No kidding. Although one thing that kind of blew my mind was that even with the old school metal braces, like the ones we all grew up with, there's still a big range in how much they can cost.
Right. There are actually a lot of factors at play. Like a straightforward case, right, where you don't need as much time or as many adjustments, that'll probably be easier on the wallet than a super complex case with major realignment.
So kind of like if you're building a house, a simple ranch is going to cost a lot less than a giant mansion with all the extras.
Exactly. And, you know, another thing, it's kind of like with real estate, too, in a way, location, location, location. Sometimes you'll find braces just cost more in bigger cities or areas where the cost of living is higher in general.
Makes sense. Okay, and then on top of that, we've got all the different types of braces to consider. Metal, ceramic, lingual. Those are the ones behind your teeth, right? And each one's got its own price tag.
Yeah, the lingual braces are usually the priciest option. They're trickier to put on and adjust, and orthodontists often need special training to do them properly.
Wow, so it really is more complicated than it seems at first glance, like a whole hidden world of pricing. But hey, before we go too far down that rabbit hole, let's take a breath here because I'm feeling a little overwhelmed and I bet you are too. Good news is this article doesn't leave us hanging. There's a whole section about other ways to pay for braces and even some alternatives to the whole traditional braces thing.
Right. And this is where it gets really interesting. We're talking about things like FSAs and HSAs. You know, those flexible spending accounts or health savings accounts you might have through work?
Oh, yeah, I've heard of those. Honestly, though, I've never totally understood how they work.
Yeah, it can definitely seem a bit confusing, but they can actually be incredibly helpful, especially when it comes to something like braces.
Yeah.
The big thing is the tax advantages.
Okay, so like, how does that work exactly? Asking for a friend.
Okay, so with these accounts, the FSA or HSA, you're basically putting aside money for healthcare costs before taxes are taken out. So let's say you put $100 into your FSA, right? and let's say you're in the 25% tax bracket. That means you just lowered your taxable income by $100, which saves you $25 in taxes.
Whoa, it's like getting a discount on your braces just by using the account. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, quite.
Although that does make me wonder, we were talking about medically necessary braces before. Does that come into play at all with the FSA or HSA thing? Like, does it affect the tax part of it?
Wow, that's a really good question. Honestly, it can. Tax laws are always changing. But generally speaking, if your braces are considered medically necessary, you might actually be eligible for even more tax benefits.
Wow.
Yeah, it's true. It can get a little complicated, so it's always a good idea to talk to a tax person to get advice specific to your situation.
Always good advice. But hey, it's great to know those accounts are out there. Could be a smart way to save some money, especially for something like braces. Speaking of which, the article also talked about other financing options like payment plans straight from your orthodontist and even personal loans.
Definitely. And this is where talking to your orthodontist is key. Like, don't be afraid to talk about your budget openly and honestly and find out what options they offer.
So true. Okay, and can we talk about the alternatives to traditional metal braces for a minute? Invisalign, those at-home aligner kits everyone's talking about, veneers, there's so many options now.
So many. Invisalign has definitely become super popular. Those clear aligners are great for people who want a more discreet look. Gotta say, though, it's not the right fit for every case.
And those at-home aligners, they seem tempting, cost-wise. But I have to imagine there are some downsides. Right?
For sure. They can be less expensive, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you're not getting the same level of, expert supervision that you would with an orthodontist.
Right. So important.
It's super important to talk to your dentist or orthodontist,
Yeah.
get a proper evaluation, and make sure it's right for you.
Got it. Okay. And veneers, those seem like a whole other thing.
Yeah, veneers are more about changing the look of your teeth.
Yeah.
Shape, the color, making them look nice and even. Less about fixing bites or anything like that.
Wow. Well, I have to say, we've gone from feeling totally lost in the world of braces and insurance to having a whole toolkit of information and options.
That's what we like to hear. Knowledge is power, right?
Real. And as you think about all this, one thing to keep in mind is braces aren't just about having a perfect smile. They're an investment in your long-term dental health. It's about feeling good, from the inside out.
So well said. It's about your overall well-being.
Absolutely. Well, that is all the time we have for today's deep dive into the wild world of braces. But hey, we're so glad you joined us. And remember, you've got this. Do your research, talk to your dentist, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Until next time.